I just arrived in my new hotel here in Ukraine, in Lviv, after 2 days of traveling through Ukraine from the northern border of Moldova up to Lviv. I've now arrived in what has now become somewhat of the media center for coverage of this war. This is where most of the international journalists are gathered, and it's where I'll be doing my work. But as you can hear, I'm still a bit sick, and I just arrived, so I figured I'm gonna head in early today. And I took this chance to make a little video because this may be the last chance in a while to upload something with a bit of levity, namely all the footage that I still have from Moldova. And in this video I would like to make the case for Moldova actually being a very nice tourist destination. If you're looking for something a bit more original in Eastern Europe, I hope this vlog will convince you to give Moldova a try, because Moldova has a bad rap. A lot of YouTube channels and articles, they paint Moldova as this post-Soviet hellscape, and it has some decrepit parts for sure, but it also has some nice classical architecture, nice cafes, lovely people, good food. You can actually, if you go to Chisinau and some of the small villages in the countryside, they actually have lovely areas that any tourists who likes Europe would very much enjoy. The city has beautiful, interesting historical elements. As you'll see in the vlog, there's this lovely inn in the countryside with this almost peasant Russian Turgenev 19th century vibe to it, and I just wanted to show you this before I get to more serious work here in Ukraine. So enjoy this vlog, and I hope it will convince some of you to give Moldova a shot. Enjoy.
So the last time you saw me, I was in this little Turkish cafe in Gagauzia. And since then we've arrived in the capital of Chisinau, the biggest city in all of Moldova, and actually one of the only cities of considerable size here. I should also note that I have removed my big external microphone. The reason is twofold. One is that every time I turn the camera around, that big microphone doesn't pick up anything I say when I try to show something, and I have to go into post-production and then up the sound that still comes in from behind the camera, which is a big bother. And the other reason is that it really does stand out, and it draws a lot of looks, this massive big bulb of a camera next to it. So I figured it'd be much less conspicuous if I just use the medium mount GoPro microphone as is, and not have this big fluffy dead cat microphone dangling next to it. And another reason, I just saw the footage I made yesterday, and in a lot of the footage you can see this dead cat of the microphone dangling in the frame. I've pulled it back as much as I can, but it wasn't enough. So if this sound is okay, I really hope it is, or it's gonna be some wasted footage this trip. If this sound is okay, then I will just use my GoPro as is without the microphone, and I hope you won't hear too much of a difference. It has some regal elements to it. In a sense, it reminds me a bit of Budapest, with these great Soviet buildings, and even buildings dating back further. The streets are clean and wide. It has a real Central European capital feel. Which took me by surprise. I can imagine that in summer, when little trees such as these are in bloom all along the street, that it will actually be a very charming street to be on, with little cafes and little parks. But do be mindful though, this is the absolute heart of the city, and as I just came from somewhat of a suburb, I can tell you that, yeah, once you're out of the heart of the city, where everything is maintained reasonably well, yeah, outside of that it is it is much like the Bolt and Bancroft video, very decrepit and very worn and torn and poor looking. But I must say that I'm pleasantly surprised by the state of the center. It's nice. It's got a European feel. If I squint a little and imagine it in spring, sure, it's a nice destination. What you see here behind me is Andy's, and Andy's is by far my favorite chain restaurant in all of Europe. I've eaten here twice already since I've been in Moldova. They're all over the place. It's a pizzeria, but they've got everything from borscht to spare ribs, and I don't know, it's just delicious. It's remarkably delicious for a country that has such a bad reputation. I wish we had an Andy's in the Netherlands. But Andy's is not where I'm going tonight, because ever since I came to Moldova, I wanted to try something a little bit more Eastern European. I haven't had the chance because my buses always have arrived at like 11 or 10. But then I saw, don't know if you can make it out in the distance, but that's restaurant Tbilisi, which is promising me Georgian food. So that's what we're gonna try out tonight. If we're able to cross the road, that is. I'm not too sure how legit crossings are in Chisinau, but when the little man turns green, we'll make a run for it and see where it gets us. Well, that was easy. Wish we were that in the Netherlands. Yeah. Now it records. Thank you. I just got out from the shop that I passed on the way to restaurant Tbilisi, and I sold a bunch of camera accessories, and I think I may have found the answer to my problems. If this does suck or doesn't pick up my voice as well, then I found this nifty little thing. This is a clip-on microphone, meaning that I can just clip it onto my jacket, and whichever way I turn my GoPro, my voice will be audible in any situation. Only cost me like 20 bucks, so I hope it works. By the way, I finished just in time to show you the entrance to restaurant Tbilisi. Georgian national cuisine. I would have loved to try Moldovan national cuisine, but for the life of me I cannot find it. And other bad news, restaurant Tbilisi looks very closed. But it's not. It's open. Looks very abandoned though. Somebody over there, let's ask him. Grumpy chef pointed me elsewhere. So okay, this looks a little bit more inhabited. Set this thing up. Let's see what the menu has. Okay, this is either Russian or Romanian, our options, and I don't speak neither. So, well, some Russian, but not enough Russian to recognize Georgian cuisine. So we'll just ask the man what he recommends. Постите. Я начинаю еда. Что вы думаете, это вкусно?
Горячие блюда.
Да.
Надо попробовать хинкали, хачапури,
Да.
супы, если желаете что-то на первое.
Меню. Это, пожалуйста.
Это свиное мясо, тушеное с картошкой.
Да. Свинья и картошки. Вкусно.
Хорошо.
Окей.
Пить что
Спасибо.
будете?
Спасибо.
Пить что будете?
Я напомню.
Пить. Drink.
Moldova vino?
Georgian.
Georgia vino? Хорошо.
Red, white.
Red, please. Red, please.
Okay.
Go. So I think I ordered something with pork and potato, which sounds good. And I didn't have Moldovan wine. I'm still wanting to try Moldovan wine. They did have, however, Georgian red wine, which is also a famous wine country. Curious. So the waiter just came and brought me this massive goblet of Georgian wine, which smells delicious, and it's a pretty hefty size. That's very good. I'm by no means a sommelier, but it's very sweet and has a real kick to it, like a liquor almost. And there's a lot of it too. So I guess some of the stereotypes of Eastern European drinking culture are well founded. My food just arrived, and as you can see, it's still sizzling hot and it looks amazing. So, as I sort of understood with my poor Russian, it's potatoes and pork. And it's been cooked in an iron skillet that's been stylishly incorporated in a piece of wood. If that's just this restaurant or if that's a Georgian thing, I don't know. But I can tell you it smells absolutely delicious. You can smell peppers and you can smell herbs. And it looks just tender, and just the heat is just wafting off of it. And if it cools down, I'll give it a try and I'll tell you how it is. But I'm betting on being delicious. As you can see, I took my hat off before eating because I was raised well, and now I can try this unencumbered by poor etiquette. Let's give it a shot. That's very, very good. The pepper has this sweet, grilled, charred flavor to it almost. The potatoes are very soft, and I think they've been boiled very tenderly, almost boiled. And there's bits of tomato there. Cilantro as a topping. And I would love to try the pork, but I think it's still a bit too hot. But for you guys, I'll give this a shot. The pork is perfect. It's incredibly tender. It's almost like a bit of steak actually. It's so tender. It's just on the edge of being well done. And my hair is looking very strange, I can see, but it doesn't matter because we're eating very good food. And it's almost got this rare quality to it, which you don't want with pork, but they straddle the balance perfectly. And if this is any indication of what all Georgian cuisine is like, then my next stop is gonna be Georgia. Well, I have to say that was absolutely fantastic. And all the peculiarities of the Georgian wine compared to the wine I'm used to, the French or the Australians, suddenly made sense when I had it in conjunction with the salty pork and the hearty potatoes. It's a fantastic accompaniment. And as you can tell by my red cheeks, I've been very much enjoying it despite its massive size. And it may be the wine talking, but I am very curious to try more of this Georgian food. I planned on getting another soup, but I don't think that's gonna happen. It's a very hearty filling meal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the Tort Napoleon, which is a Napoleon cake. And I've never had it in the Netherlands, but some Russian friends of mine are very enthusiastic about Tort Napoleon, so I'm gonna get a Tort Napoleon and I'll keep you updated. I made a big mistake. The food, the wine, just as the cake came, it hit me all at once. This massive goblet that I've only worked my way half through, and the hearty potatoes and pork. I overestimated what I could eat after a long day of walking. So the cake came, and I thought I could never take another bite of anything. But then the smell hit me. And it's like nougat, honey, maybe some cream. And it looks absolutely delicious. And no matter how full I am, I promised you I would take a sample of Napoleon cake. So I'm gonna fight on in the face of adversity, just for you. That's delicious. When I saw Napoleon cake on the pictures I've seen of it from my Russian friends, it seemed to be seemed to me at least to be something crispy, like a crispy type of affair. But it's actually rather soft, more like the dough you would find in a croissant, like soft little layers of pastry. And inside is this thick cream, laced with honey as the sweetener, and it all blends into this really delicious, soft, light dessert. And you know, I totally get the hype for Napoleon cake now. So if you ever find yourself near a Eastern European place, please try Napoleon cake. You won't regret it. It's very dark out, so I'm not sure how well you can see me or well you can hear me. But that dinner absolutely killed me. Like, I finished the whole cake because it was so good. But after that pork, potatoes, a massive goblet of wine, somebody should have stopped me. Maybe it should have been you. But that didn't happen. So I finished it all, and I'm like massively tired now. And it's been days since I've slept early. Just days of traveling and walking. So I'm so knackered from the wine and the cake and the meal. I'm just gonna jump in my bed and then just sleep, even though it's only what, like 8 at night. I'll see you tomorrow. What do you reckon? Should I make a little extra vlog and call it something like the real Kishinev? Because I'm I'm impressed. This is a parking, or just a random parking Kishinev. It's not the central park, it's just a park of many in the greenest city in Europe. Here it is. It's pretty nice, right? I mean, it's a bit barren now, but imagine in a full bloom. And it can rival the parks of Paris, the parks of London, at least from what I have seen. And imagine buying a big bottle of Moldovan wine and plopping down here on the couch with the birds whistling in the trees and the stray dogs wagging their tails at your feet, popping a little bottle of wine with your lover or family. Man, what a underestimated capital this is. Also, because no tourists come here to Kishinev, despite it having some beautiful parts as I've shown you, because no tourists come here, there are very little beggars and tourist traps. And oh my god, I remember a few years ago I was in Paris. It's just you cannot take a single step in Paris without being clasped by the arm and having to pay money for somebody tying a little souvenir string around your finger, and you have to yank it away in time before they run after you for money, and just these horrible tourist trap restaurants ripping you off. That's not at all going on here in Kishinev. I can be anonymous here and just walk around and not be pestered by anybody. And I pay fair prices. I pay fair taxi prices. I pay fair restaurant prices. Because there's no tourism here, there's also almost no tourist rip-off industry, and it's very liberating. Sorry guys. Well, with all these pigeons chilling here, you may think that they're all praying to this monument of the bird god, but it's actually a monument to 3 of the most prominent Moldovians in 20th century history that all died in 1917. That's the main thing that ties them, as well as their importance to Moldova and the Moldovan independence. They were all born in Bessarabia, which covered 2/3 of Moldova back then. And the first man, Simeon Murava, was a prominent politician here in Moldova and a founding member of the Moldovan Independent Party then. He was murdered in 1917, together with another prominent politician, Andrei Hodorogea, I don't know, somebody may know, Andrei Hodorogea. They were both prominent politicians who were instrumental to Moldovan independence. They were murdered both on the same night, in August 20th, 1917. The third man, Alexei Matevici, is a prominent poet who helped shape modern Moldovan national identity. He also died in 1917, but he died of typhus. As a priest, he was a priest on the front. And what ties them is their importance to Moldovan independence and Moldovan culture, and their deaths on the very eve of the First World War, the onset of the independence of all these regions. It's a beautiful monument right here in the park. No wonder the birds like to chill here. I don't want to misinform you guys, so I'm gonna elucidate a bit about what I said about the heroes we saw on the monument, and why their life and death were so meaningful for the Chisinauians today. Is because they were murdered by the Bolsheviks in the wake of a struggle to keep independence, and that's why Bessarabia was such an important region, because in a sense it formed the cultural roots of what is now independent Moldova, because it remained independent, sort of independent, well into the Soviet reign that happened after the Russian Revolution in 1917. So the fight for the independence of Bessarabia is now so important, especially now, so important to differentiate the Moldovan culture and independence from the reign of the Russian Empire and later the Soviet Empire. And I guess that is why these heroes are still so relevant today. I'm here in a taxi, and I was actually supposed to take the bus to Galady to get closer to the border with Ukraine, but there were so many people waiting there at the bus stop, and it was so busy, and all the buses were full, and it was impossible there wasn't like people waiting for hours. A lot of Ukrainian refugees going into Europe, taking the opposite direction that I'm going. So I jumped back in the taxi that took me to the station, and I'm here with my new friend Alex.
Hello, my name is Alex.
New friend Alex, he's from Moldova.
Frank.
Mooi
nice
novo druk, Alex. And we're going to Što je ta город? Anhatit.
Kalarash.
Kalarash. We're going to Kalarash, and I'll keep you updated once I'm there. Good. Finally I've got here a true Eastern European meal, and I've been looking forward for years to try this. This is pork fat, pure pork fat with raw garlic, and you may be disturbed by the thought of eating raw garlic, but they do that here because this is an accompaniment to the vodka. This isn't the meal that you would ever eat without a little glass of vodka. And I asked for a little glass, and instead I got a pretty sizable one. And of course, in Eastern Europe, you drink the vodka with juice. And my Dutch instinct would be to throw the vodka in the juice, but we're in civilized territory now, so we're gonna take a sip of vodka, sip of juice, just to wash away this very savory, salty pork fat and the super strong garlic that makes me wince so much more than the vodka does. And this is, I think, cheese salad that we eat with the bread, and this is a nice accompaniment to a vodka. Everything revolves around the vodka. And when I come back, I'll show you the fish I'm getting. Looks beautiful, but first I want to give this a try. Very good. It's very soft, it melts on the tongue, very savory, salty, fatty, and the smallest bit of vodka just washes it all away and cleanses the palate for another go. It's very good. It's an excellent combo, and now I'm going to do something that will make Europeans wince, but this is a raw garlic clove. It's so strong. God, I hope people won't be sitting next to me in the bus tomorrow.
Awesome Hotel was a bit of an introduction. This hotel is made in the style of an old Russian hunter's lodge, I would say almost. You've got these hides on the walls, you see? These pelts, these animal pelts and old crossbows. And it reminds me so much of something straight out of a Turgenev short story. A writer who wrote these really atmospheric short stories about almost documentarian style about the peasants in Russia just before the Soviet Union, and it really reminds me of that 19th century setting of those stories. You see, they've even got a whole vibe with the paintings, with the little hunter's fire burning and the fish. You'll see later in the vlog. I had the delicious trout yesterday here. And despite what many people think about Moldova and its lack of tourism, there are some hidden gems like this hotel. I pay maybe 20 euros for a night here, and maybe 8 euros for one of the most fantastic meals I've had in my life. And the theme of this vlog being the cool sides of Moldova and why it's actually a country you should visit, I thought it'd be an excellent way to start and show you this. Look, pelt of a wolf, real pelt of a real wolf, real pelt of a bear. Who knows how long it's been there, how old it is. And we're now gonna see if I can find my breakfast. They promised me blinis. Look, pelt of a fox. I feel bad for the fox. Not a big fan of hunting, but who knows how long it may have been here already, in a time when this was so much ingrained in the tradition. Beautiful pelt here as well. You see how incredibly atmospheric this place is. This is more like almost the clean style of the Soviet etching. Let's see, Dobro utro.
Dobro jutro.
Well, people waking up. These dolls, these are, I hope I say it correctly, Maslenitsa dolls, which is a yearly annual festival in Eastern Europe and Russia for the coming of spring. And children make these dolls out of string. And then they basically go around to family eating pancakes all week. And I believe at the end of the festival day, they burn either these dolls or like a really big one, Burning Man style. I'm not sure. And of course, grapes from signifying the Moldovan wine heritage. Man, I think I'm smelling blinis. Not sure where they are. Let me check. I'll be back to you. Well, that video didn't have much of an ending, so here it is. If you've made it this far, I think you've shown at least a little bit of an interest in Moldova, and I really hope you will add it to your list of potential destinations, especially if you're looking for something that's a bit more off the beaten path, but still in Europe, and still having that European, Eastern European vibe with some Central European elements, and some cool, very old monuments, and some newer Soviet monuments, and especially delicious food and very kind people. And I would urge you, if you're at least a bit interested in going to Moldova, go now because the situation is so precarious. It's not dangerous in Moldova now. Don't let me frighten you, but the political situation, what happened to Ukraine could potentially happen to Moldova, and well, then there goes your opportunity to see this beautiful country. And also, if the situation with Ukraine resolves quickly, then and everything is stable again, please also go to Moldova, because they have no tourism industry, and it's the poorest country in Europe, but they deserve to have more visitors. They deserve the chance to be able to build a tourism industry. They're such nice people. They have lots to offer. They have the most delicious wine in Eastern Europe. The vineyards are famous in the region. I can imagine. I was there in winter, and it already had some nice bits, but I can imagine in summer, with the trees in bloom along the road. It's a gorgeous country. It's the greenest capital in Europe, Chisinau, which surprised me. It's the greenest capital in Europe, so in full bloom it should be absolutely a gorgeous destination. So if you want an original adventure and you want to help the Moldovans become the tourist destination that they deserve to be able to at least try to be, then go visit Moldova. Thank you.